The news has been pretty grim recently, with another mass shooting being reported at an almost weekly pace. The extreme solutions people have come up with seem to only focus on the weapon, ban all guns, or arm every responsible adult. More sensible people have more middle-of-the-road approaches, like more logical gun restrictions, reforms, and background checks. But I think the final solution is much deeper than that, because unless we run an authoritarian military police state, at the end of the day, criminals will have and use weapons. The root problem isn't the fact that bad people have access to weapons. The root problem is what makes people depraved enough to want to use weapons for these things. This is the solution that politicians don't talk about, even those who care deeply about the issue. Maybe it's because it sounds too outlandish, or maybe because it takes so long. But the solution is this: don't attack the weapon, attack the weaponized mind. But what does this mean exactly? It means that the weapons that need to be addressed are the hatred in people's hearts and minds. Mental illnesses and bigotry make up for 100% of all non-gang related mass shootings. No sane person, no loving person can commit a crime like this, so it appears obvious to me that this is the problem. But how do we fix this? Society is practically structured to divide us, by wealth, by race, by ethnicity, by religion, political opinions, etc. And it's this very division that leads to people not being able to understand those who are different from themselves. For example, an undereducated white man separated from black people in his rural white community is very likely to make judgments based on what individual black people do or what the generally negative media tells him about them. And with the internet and access to any and all information, it's easier now than ever for troubled, bigoted people who may have once been normal undereducated folk before having a bad run-in with someone who's different from them, to find a group of like-minded people who can spread their propaganda throughout this echo chamber with nobody to tell them why their ideologies are wrong. Keep in mind, most racists or bigots aren't evil. They're troubled people who have simply found a community in their race/ideology. How do we help this? Well, I have a solution. It may not be practical, and I admit that it would take decades to work, but I'm very confident that in the end of it, we will have solved this issue to the best of our ability. And no, before you ask, I'm not going to propose hunting down all bigots, because I have a much nicer solution than that. Bigotry is a direct result of misinformation or lack of any information at all. So to counter the hateful bigotry plaguing our country, we have to focus on killing it before it grows into the hearts and minds of children through an extensive shift in what our education system deems vital. We must move away from forcing students to learn colorless, unhelpful subjects to teaching them about others. Culture, anthropology, psychology, philosophy, sociology, and humanities. People may roll their eyes at this, as humanities teachers have this bad reputation for political correctness and dyed hair, but I can assure you that a fundamental understanding of others and the people around you will help kids be able to denounce racism before their parents or propagandist media could ever instill it into them. We need to call for complete rewiring of our education system. We must convince them that teaching the younger generation about tolerance, acceptance, cultures, and a philosophy of open-mindedness and love is just as necessary, if not more necessary, for a successful society than algebra or how an atom works. A new core class starting in a child's early teen years, consisting of humanities classes taught by intelligent teachers that become more detailed and advanced with each school year, would, in my mind, kill bigotry at its roots. A student can have all of his or her misconceptions taught to them by outside sources about others, disproven by teachers who have the patience, passion, and skill to work with even the most biased of children to try and make all children compassionate and wise. As long as these teachers agree to keep their politics to themselves, I see no harm in classes meant to correct the minds of children before it's too late. This is not an attack on an individual's thoughts or opinions. This is proving hatred. This will save lives, this will help us end the divisiveness of our country, this will help us all become more loving humans, and this will help solve the biggest issue in the threat of gun violence in America, and it would be a beautiful thing. Thank you.